Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Cash Flow Chronicles podcast. We appreciate you tuning in today. If this is your first time checking out the podcast or you have yet to see our full infinite banking overview, please head on over to the website, legacylifeandretirement.com. Check it out right there on the front page, super easy to find. That way, you'll have a better understanding of what we're going to be discussing here today. I'll also link that in the show notes of this episode, as well as at the end of this video if you're watching on YouTube. So today I am joined by my good friend, Jason Sipple. Jason is a husband as well as a father of two. He's a pro when it comes to the infinite banking and is actually a certified practitioner through the Nelson Nash Institute. He works directly with the team over at the Money Multiplier, but he has his own initiative going on called Founding Fathers, which we'll get into a little bit more today in our conversation. But excited to have you, man. Excited to have another conversation with you. Welcome to the show. Let's go ahead and get these people educated.
I appreciate you, Shawn. Shawn, it's awesome that you're putting this on your heart every time I meet you, your growth mindset, how you serve. So I'm just happy to be back with you, brother. It's been a little bit since we sat down in Nashville. So I'm looking forward to what transpires in this conversation.
Yep, me too. As always, man, just looking to bring some valuable information to the people to help open up their minds, get them educated, whether they know nothing about infinite banking, whether they're on the fence, or whether they're currently practicing becoming their own banker themselves. Really just want to provide them with some good value. People like yourself who have been doing this for a little while now. You got a lot of knowledge. Somebody who's a father, who's a husband, who's a businessman, just helping people understand that this is for normal people like you and me, not people who own banks and run countries and do all this other stuff, just the average everyday person. So I think we're going to provide people with a lot of good information. So since I saw you last in Nashville, what's been going on? What kind of stuff you been up to?
Saying yes, saying yes intentionally to things that align with our collective mission, and also looking at where I can say no more often to give myself more space and grace as we go on this journey. Because as we will talk about this quite a bit. It's really about the long-term vision. And
Hmm.
I know you, brother, I'm talking to you and myself, we're a little bit of achievers. We might have some patterns that might not always serve us because we're always looking for the next goal. But we have to remember this is a journey. We got to enjoy ourselves. So saying yeah, I feel like I was describing this earlier. Since we talked, the lazy rivers. Have you been in many lazy rivers? Are you a lazy river kind of guy with your family, with your beautiful wife and little boy?
We talking like natural lazy rivers or lazy rivers at like resorts and stuff like that?
Either. Do you like floating around in a tube in the water, like slowly?
Kind of depends what kind of feel I'm in. Normally not. Normally I like to be doing things. I'm a pretty active and my brain's kind of constantly going and going. Like that idea of just sitting on the beach doing nothing doesn't particularly appeal to me that much. And that's kind of what I get from the lazy river. So it depends what mood
Well,
I'm
then
in.
you'll like where I'm at then. You'll like where I'm at. You're kind of answering perfectly because lately what it's felt like is I'm literally like next to the lazy river and the super fast river where your face is barely above the water and you're like going down under and things are dragging you under and you're coming back up. You're like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just gonna keep going. It's been little bit like that since we got back from Nashville. I can't even tell you how many weeks it's been. It feels like months, but I'm pretty sure it was only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
time is not a concept anymore, especially for people like us that, work from home and different things like that. Like if I'm not going to a job on a regular basis and realizing, like for me, I love doing what we do. I absolutely love talking to people about infinite banking. So whether it's Tuesday or whether it's Saturday, it really doesn't click in my head because I don't get up and I'm like, oh God, it's Wednesday. It's only the middle of the week. Got to talk to people about infinite banking for 3 more days before I can shut the hell up and just enjoy my weekend. That's not how it goes. So
hmm.
time, plus having a 9-month-old baby, time just is like not real anymore. So I feel I feel that. How's your little man doing? I know you got two kiddos, but the one's old enough to take care of himself. The other one still
Well, we'll work on both of them. Work on both of them. So I appreciate you asking about Connor and about Diego. Uh, you know, it's a work in progress. So Diego's doing well. He's training for the Marines. That's my older son, right? So he got a date in November where he's going to go back to the recruiter's office. So we're excited about that. Little man's excited about his Nelson Nash book, and I've got a $10 brain gig if he reads and gives me a report. He tried to use chat and other AI to give me the report, and I said, nope, when you actually read it, you earn $10. So, but I've got to bet that there's someone on our money multiplier team, Connor at 10, will read the book prior to this other individual ever finishing the book. So
Oh,
it's a little
all
fun
right.
bet, a little
Yep.
side bet. I don't bet on things. There's no money involved. Just make that clear. But that's how about you? How's Keanu? How's life with a 9-month old?
Doing good, man. He's actually just recently got sick, got an ear infection.
Oh, they're
Um,
the worst.
yeah, so it's first time he's going through, like, not really feeling good. He's had this pretty aggressive cough. Doctor thinks he had RSV or whatever three-letter thing they're saying that kids get now because he just started going to, like, a little in-home daycare thing, and as soon as you get around other kids, boogers and coughing and all that good stuff happens. So it's parent life. And of course now I'm sick, which obviously happens because kissing him and doing all that stuff and he's putting his fingers in my mouth and all that fun stuff that you have when you have a little kid like that. But he's just starting to feel better. So
Good.
parent
Good.
life.
He is like the cutest, like just smiles and hair everywhere. Like this, like it was awesome. It was awesome getting to spend time with you and your beautiful wife and seeing him in Nashville. Like that was, it just anchors it in more like the people that we get to meet. And there is like something that we're taught in school, something we're taught in athletics is to be competitive and to compete against each other when really the biggest skill in life is what you and I are doing in this moment. We're conspiring. We are collectively putting our two minds together and our two paths together and saying, brother, we're going to create so much more together versus like, can I talk to more people about infinite banking than Shawn or reach more people? No, like together we're better and we're not taught that in school. And so like it's just seeing that and like sharing, like Patty and I were talking about that this morning with Connor. She's like, this is his legacy. Like whether he chooses to enter this or not, like we're doing this for him, not only from a family financial education perspective, not only for the legacy after we're gone, but also for the opportunity to be a creator and to add more value in the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're spot on with the everybody is taught, especially in business, to have like that scarcity mindset where it's like, hey, if I don't sell this person, somebody else is going to sell them. And the whole focus is around the sale. It's not around bettering that individual on the other side who's looking to be the buyer. Uh, and I mean, we know that we're in a very, very small space as far as people who are teaching this concept correctly, participating whole life. So like you had mentioned when we first had our talk, like we're in a big ocean of limitless opportunity, limitless people to talk to about this, limitless people to educate. So the chance that you are talking to the same person that I'm talking to, or that it's going to somehow take from your family or take from my family is absolutely ridiculous. The end goal
Hmm.
is, if we want a country, if we want everything to be better, is to educate everybody. Because just like you said in our original talk, this is the book that should be next to every bed, every Bible in America. And if we could get people to read this every Sunday, like they do their Bibles, or maybe they don't read their Bibles, whatever the case may be, then I think we'll be trending in the right direction. But yeah, that scarcity mindset is not a mindset that I ever uh, listen to because it's all about growth. It's all about glass half full type of thing. So right there with you.
Amen to that.
So let's get into I gotta get me one of those screens. Damn, I gotta get one of those. That I feel like go
What you just saw me do on that screen is basically the extent of my usage on the screen. I got it thinking I love drawing, I love teaching, I'm gonna educate all the time. That's why I bought the little mics that you use when we met in Nashville. Like I have those sitting here on my desk
Mhm.
um, for that reason, and I use it for this. I use it as a big old decal logo in my background, basically, because behind that board is the Evil Empire. Do you know who the Evil Empire is?
Of course, Star Wars, of course. I'm assuming saying the Yoda that you're referring to Star Wars, or are we talking about the government?
I was just seeing where you're gonna go with it. There, Darth Vader is behind that wall, but you might be talking about the government, Wall Street, or the banks too.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
mean, they
there's
are the current day evil empire that wants to show everything being orderly. They want everything to be perfect. And they want everybody to be compliant and just say, "Yes, please, just hand me. You can have my money. Take my money from me. I don't
yeah,
need it." And then we'll borrow it back, right? So
exactly. So, let's
that's why we have Yoda on the wall. I really see us, Sean, as Jedis. I mean, we didn't dive into that, but I honestly think that we are, Jedis or Padawans or Master Jedis, like however you want to look at it. And as long as we can recruit more Jedis, we'll be in good place. So
yep, I agree. I would definitely, say that Nelson is probably Yoda, and then it just kind of trickle down effect from there. You got, you know, I do love the Star Wars reference, though. I'm a big Star Wars. I I could show you over here. It's not in frame, but I have a Darth Vader as well as what else I got? Got a couple really cool pictures of oh, nice. You know what? You're gonna make me hold on. Give me a second just to roll away, folks.
yes, yes, yes. And by the way, there's tons of Lego Star Wars all over this house too. You know what the hardest if you ever want to challenge, Sean, and I'm gonna challenge anybody listening to this, if you like go to Ecuador or go to a place where they sell Legos from China, like actually from China, like the knockoff Star Wars ones,
Mhm.
and buy one of those, the instructions are 6,500 times harder than the instructions from like an IKEA putting a piece of furniture together, which could be one of the more frustrating things that a man could do is try to build something from like an IKEA. But their like we have a couple different spacecrafts from Star Wars, like the TIE fighter, and it's still sitting in a box because they built a couple other ones and it was super difficult. Like they're
Give
one
me a second.
color,
I'm running
one
my head.
thing.
I just ran my headphones through my chair.
You're good. You're good. We're just having fun. This is what it's about, like having some fun. Always, always looking to keep things light, keep it interesting because it is a long journey, as I mentioned earlier. So,
All right, here we go. So let me show you these right here. Wife and I picked these up at move my mic. See if it'll focus.
oh, that is awesome. How
Right.
dainty Darth looks
Yep.
with
It's
a
got
cup of
the
tea.
little pinky up. And then we've got
Oh, Boba Fett. That I was Boba Fett in first grade is still my favorite costume I ever had. So, yeah.
yeah, and we got Halloween right around the corner. You guys gonna do anything special for it?
Connor wants me to put on the gorilla mask and hands I have and scare all the kids. Even though even I don't know. I think it'll probably be Diego that'll end up doing that, not myself. I usually go around the neighborhood, get bit by mosquitoes 'cause it's still too warm for them not to be away yet,
That
and, and
yeah,
then just
that little
try to
cold
bring a
front we had.
bottle of bug spray with me to help all other neighbors that forget that the mosquitoes are still gonna eat us.
Yep, that little cold front we had the other week was fantastic, and now it's, still pretty warm again, so looking forward to it cooling down a bit. But give the people what they came for. Let's start to talk about some, educational stuff. So, really, infinite banking, that's what the podcast that's is about, educating the people. Why I wanna know why you chose to get into infinite banking because everybody sees this and they see it and it clicks with them in their own way and they find some sort of value in it. Maybe they're like, hey, I really want to pay off debt, or oh man, I saw this and it looks like a great tool to be able to utilize to make my money work for me in two places. I want to go do my investments, but I also want to keep myself a safety net over here with this money. So when you first saw it, what was the appeal to you? Why infinite banking?
That's the biggest question, right? That's the biggest question. I've got a couple different versions of what I'm gonna share, but it came down to money was always over there. Like I realized when I was looking back at this is at 46 years old, and I started understanding that I didn't have sound money philosophy. I didn't have any philosophy around it. And I realized a lot of it was about money wounds for me. Like it was about seeing my parents. My dad was a water well driller. My mom was a teacher and worked for the county as well as a victim witness coordinator growing up in a little town in New Jersey, right? Little one stop sign town And I would watch them fight over accounts receivable for work being done
Mm,
that was already done. And I just remember at 6 or 7 years old just saying, I will never, do that because I don't understand why people wouldn't pay when they have running water because of the hard backbreaking, literally work my dad did. And so, like that, and then other like rich was always over there for me.
mhm.
Like if you were rich, you must have done something evil to get to be rich. And actually, all the wealthy people I know, like all the millionaires and multimillionaires I'm actually friends with, they're actually some of the most abundant, kind, loving, giving, generous people that I know because they're operating in a place of love and faith.
Yep.
Typically, the ones that are in my circle. And so back to your, why infinite banking, I needed help. I needed a financial philosophy. And I just asked a friend of mine who is a, fiduciary. He's a infinite banking practitioner. He learned from R. Nelson directly. I didn't know that at the moment, but I asked him for help and he handed me that book. Hold up, look up again for the folks. Becoming Your Own Banker, that fifth edition. He handed me his version of that book. Like that was probably given to him from Nelson or David Stearns that runs the Nelson Nash Institute. Um, and he gave it to me and I had his notes in it and I read it and I thought, oh my God, like if this was true, every American would do this. And then I read the next night. I was mad. Like I got super pissed. I was like,
Yep.
why the hell am I 46 and finding out about this now? And I called up the next day and I cussed him out. I was rep, like, what the F, bro? Like, I've known you for almost 2 years and you told me about like this coaching community. We've talked about mindset. We've talked about all these other things and leadership. And now you're handing me this book. It, why isn't everyone doing this? And that became my passion, my mission. I went so far down the rabbit hole. I wrote a book about this before I ever spoke to a human to help them.
Wow.
So I think it was me finding truth and finding a philosophy that I could latch onto that gave me that foundation where I could finally feel free. It was a feeling. It was a feeling of feeling free. And that's where it started. And now, if you asked me 4.5 years ago if I'd have a life insurance license, much less 50 of them, I would have let you punch me in the nose. You're a big dude. That wouldn't feel very good. But
Right.
I thought that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Life insurance license? Like, why would I do that? And then here we are, serving thousands and thousands of people and families with a much bigger mission. And so it all started because I didn't have a financial philosophy and I needed one. And I needed one that wasn't based in all of the nonsense that we're told or taught or
Yep.
secondhand information or watch commercials. Just watch a commercial. Look in your mailbox. That is how you're being groomed to give up control of your life. That is the evil empire.
100%. So you said a couple things that really stuck out to me. One is something I want to make sure that I'm not doing, which is not coming to people in my life with this information because of whatever reason. Like your buddy knew about it for however long he knew about it. And he didn't tell you for however long he didn't tell you until he told you. And you're thinking to yourself, maybe he was thinking, maybe he's not ready yet. Maybe he's not in the mindset. Maybe he's not in the right spot in his life, whatever it may be. But the last thing I want to happen is be the one making the decisions, that decision for people in my life. If I care about you, I want to put this information in front of you so that you can tell me if you're ready or not. Because if you're not ready right now, that's cool. You got the information. We can meet up later. We can discuss it later. You're going to keep seeing me be an infinite banker for the rest of my life. So whenever that time comes around that you're ready to start practicing what I'm preaching, then awesome, let's do it. But if you're ready right then, what I don't want to happen is that exact thing. Hey man, you've known about this for 2, 3, 4 years now. I thought we were friends. Why did you never tell me? You not think I
His, his answer, brother, was sip, you weren't ready. And he was
Yeah.
right. And that's what you're saying. Like, listen, we're here to educate. Number one thing we are doing in this conversation is entertaining
Mhm.
and educating. Like, we want to get to know you. I love people, man. Like, I love the people I meet to the point where, like, I meet them and I come back and tell Patty, and I'm just like, she's like, why do I want to know about, this person's life, their kids, what they do, how interesting this is, and all these other things when we have all of our stuff going on? But I'm just fascinated that there's so many choices we have. And at the end of the day, I believe that this is the most sound financial principle that's being taught. Like the deeper you dive into it, like if you go and become a Nelson Nash certified practitioner, like you are, right? And I am, like you end up learning from PhD economists. You end up learning
Yeah.
about different schools of economics and thinking. And it's all about really seeing what's in front of you and then actually taking time to think, is this true? Okay, if this is not true, what is true then? It, and just asking yourself, does this make sense? You know, if someone creates the problem and then they offer the solution, doesn't that seem like the fox guarding the hen house? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that you said is, and I think this relates perfectly to what you were just mentioning, is the life insurance aspect. Like, I think that comes with a huge stigma behind it, but I don't think anybody, unless their family was also in life insurance for, the previous generation or a few generations, nobody's like, "I'm gonna be a life insurance agent." And what we're talking about is banking, controlling your wealth. So I sometimes forget I'm a life insurance agent. Now, granted, what we're doing, the death benefit is a huge portion. It's a huge benefit. It's a huge bonus of what we do, but it's not what infinite banking focuses on per se. So it's weird when you're like, well, people ask you what you do. I definitely don't tell them I'm a life insurance agent. That's not what I do. I teach people how to take back control of their wealth by, you know, recapturing the interest that's constantly leaving their system and going out to third parties, building wealth off of the debts and expenses that we already have, et cetera, et cetera. And no part of that am I like, I'm a life insurance guy. Like so it's
Well, the
weird.
crazy thing what you just said, like you're what you said spot on, right? You're helping people take back control of their money. The problem with that statement is how many people really understand that they don't have control of their money? How uncomfortable were you the first time that you realized, like if you're like me, the first time you realize when you put your money, you work hard, whatever it is that you do, whether you're a business owner, whether you're doing physical labor, whether, however you're serving the world, whatever your gift is, whatever the thing is that you do to make money to live in the United States or anywhere you're listening to this, whatever you do for work, you make the money, you put it into a bank. As soon as you make the deposit, you no longer legally own the money.
Yep.
The money is now the bank's, and it's actually a liability for the bank because they are telling you they're going to pay you 0.07% or whatever high yield interest they're paying you. They are on the hook to pay you, and they're gonna go take your money, and they're gonna get super wealthy from it. Like, go 400 to 1,300% annually on every dollar you deposit. And so and just that one thing, like, that's gonna break people's brain. It broke mine, and I'm just giving people permission, like, whatever we say, go research it, go study it. We're not telling you things that aren't true, that we haven't went down the rabbit hole. I'm not just standing next to Shawn and going, "Oh, buddy, you heard that? That's cool. I'm gonna say that too."
Yeah.
Because it's gonna help me reach more people and sell more policies. Like, I don't sell anything. I actually take it away from people all the time because 'cause I'm like, "I don't think you're ready, dude." Like,
I literally just made a video today talking about I don't sell anything. I'm not here to convince anybody to do anything. I will lead you with education. If you don't get it, we can go our separate ways. But I'm not going to have a hard or a soft close at the end of this. There will be no close. You either tell me, Shawn, this makes sense. I'm ready to go. Or Shawn, this doesn't make sense. I need more information. Or Shawn, you're an idiot. This is stupid. I don't want to do it. But there's no, hey, are you ready to get started? No, because you're going to be jumping out of your seat if you understand what this is, telling me I'm ready to get started. Shawn, why the hell didn't you find me 5 years ago with this information? Because I'd effed off a bunch of interest to a bunch of other people. I wish that was in my system right now, man. Like, so there's no selling here. You don't have to sell something that sells itself. It's literally just education. What we sell, even though we don't make any money off of it, is this book. We sell education. And if you can teach yourself, if you can learn what's in this book, then you will sell yourself. So I hate that. Like
Well
people,
said.
we're salesmen, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, no, no, no. I'm not selling you anything. You're selling you.
Yes. Yes, you go down the rabbit hole and you learn. If I had a dollar for every time, I've had 3,000 plus phone calls already. Like that's just a rough average. It's probably a lot more than that, right? Zoom calls, phone calls about a strategy session to tell someone, I'm going to answer all your questions in this call, or I'll just give you so many resources. You're going to be pissed off at me because you're not able to read all the books and watch all the videos and do all of the educational things. Or we're going to start your application process because you're ready to be the bank of King, right? The bank of Shawn King, the bank of the Sipples, right? You're ready to take back control of your money and you're going to do the things. I'm going to teach you how to fish. I don't want to fish for you.
Mhm.
I will not fish for you, but I'll make sure you have all the resources and education that you need to do that for yourself.
Becoming your own banker. We do
Yep.
not want to be the banker for you. You already have somebody in your life that is the banker for you. We want to teach you to become the banker. Now, the educational process along the way will never end, and we will always be here to answer questions and stuff, but you are going to become the banker. You're going to take back control of your wealth, not we are going to take back control of your wealth and then teach you how to use it. No, no, no. You're taking back control of your wealth.
And from that book, let me ask you, so do you know, like Nelson talks about this in the book, but what are the average American, right? Not the people listening, because you're already not average because you're giving us your most valuable resource, your time, your attention, and your energy to be open to learn something new. But everyone else, everyone that's not listening to this man's podcast, right? Not listening to us. In Nelson's book, do you know what the two most common, roles, if Shakespeare says all the world's a stage, then what are the most common two roles that everyone does? And these are the only two roles they ever have in their financial life. You make money, and then what do you do with the money?
You spend it.
Well, you deposit it,
Oh, yeah.
and then
And
to get the money back, you're a creditor. So you're a depositor and a creditor or a debitor.
mhm,
Right? Those are the two most common rules. And that's why money leaves our family forever, because the people, like I mentioned already, making a lot of money are the bank owner and the banker. This is what Sean and I are looking to educate you on, is how do you become the bank? Like why, like Tony Robbins says, that success leaves clues. Go ahead and try. Like I had a friend trying to open a bank in South Florida, and with all the investors, all the things, like go look at what that would look like to start your own actual bank and plug into the actual fractional banking system, and then come back and tell me what's better, to plug into something that's been around for 200 years where we can guide you and you are the absolute in control owner of it, or go take the time to find the land, to build the building, to hire the employees, to do the advertising, to make a better offer than the Bank of America that has billions and billions of dollars and gets bailed out by the government. Like,
yep.
go ahead and be competitive with that. That's what this man was trying to do. But what we teach is so simple. It's so
Nelson
simple.
Nelson literally talks about, he gives that exact example in the book. He says, "You can go become the banker. There's a wild process that you have to go through it. There's a very small chance you're actually going to ever open a bank. And then, like you mentioned, the competition. Why are people going to come to your bank over somebody that's tried and true, has a history, all of that stuff." So again, we're just teaching you how to skip all of those steps and become the bank without having to spend millions of dollars like your friend is probably doing at the moment. So,
They ended up not going forward. They ended up falling apart because most do.
yeah.
He spent a couple years, the 3 or 4 years I've known him. He's actually from England. He's he's so smart that AI is not as smart as he is yet.
Mm,
And he'll tell you that too. But like he's like one of those people, like he's shiny, he starts talking. I'm like, oh my God, he knows everything. But he started his own bank, and he will tell people, like, go work with Jason, go work with Sean, go work with the people who can actually help you take back control, because what they're teaching is true. And I can't do it in England. Like England is not one of the countries that let us do this.
yep.
So
You better either live in Canada or America. And if you live in America, you are the luckiest of the lucky because you get to take full advantage of this. So tell me this, how is being a part of this community, again, very small community of infinite banking practitioners and even users, how has this changed your life over the past, you know, 4.5 years that you've been involved in this?
it, it's it it's acceleration to the 10th degree. It is something where once you have a sound foundation, like if you decide, like I asked you this question in Nashville, like you are super fit. And I asked you how long it took you to decide that you were going to take care of your body and be an example for others, right? And I asked you, where did you get that from? And then how long did it take you to make the decision? And what
Mhm.
was your answer?
I mean, it was essentially immediately. Like, it was just something that I knew I was gonna do. I got it from my dad was super fit, still is super fit, saw him doing that stuff. I decided, you know what? This is a lifestyle that I wanna live, and so it was a very quick decision at that whatever age that was, 12 years old.
Yeah, I believe you told me 12 or 14 when we talked,
Yeah.
right? When you fact checked it. But early on, you made that decision. I made that decision around 13 or 14 years old to also be super fit. Like I saw some things in family that they weren't fit. And I said, I will never be someone that's going to be sitting here talking about other things or reading or not moving my body. Like I want to be active. I want to be adventurous, to go on journeys, right? And so I'm sharing that because when you decide and you make a decision in that moment, and most people for banking are moving away from something versus moving towards their greater self. They're moving away from pain, moving away from things that didn't work. That's what it was for me. There was massive pain around money, massive trauma around money. And it wasn't massive. It's not like I grew up poor and skipped meals and things. Like, yeah, I was eating a lot of unhealthy stuff, grilled cheese and cereal and all kinds of things that I will not feed my kids.
Mm.
You know, expired Hostess was like a good thing. Like after they expired, couldn't sell them. We would get those,
Do
and I'd
they
be like, "Oh,
expire?
look, no, like a Twinkie, it'll never expire." So I was eating like old things like that. But to be more direct for this is it has changed the dynamics of my family forever. Like I've already interrupted the pattern and I'm only 3 years of practicing into this. Like I learned about it 4 years ago. I opened the business about I learned about it 3.5, 4 years ago. When I first heard the concept, I started the business Wheel of Wealth, started, getting my licenses, made that choice, and all happened in a moment. And we went from having 10 bad debts, meaning money leaving our family, interest leaving our family, car, truck, water filtration, debt consolidation, all of the financial mistakes. I made them. And then always scarce around money, like go on a family vacation, like, oh my God, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah,
You're not going to
spend the
eat
money.
that food,
Yeah, oh god, I
right?
hated that feeling.
And most dads feel like that. That's where founding fathers kind of comes from is it's more like men, we're not even aware of our emotions, first of all. We probably have
I
like
am.
two or three emotions.
Your boy is very emotional. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Not something very common, and it's not something that I really got from my father, but it's something that I learned from an early age that, hey, I you gotta be in touch with your emotions, man, because locking that shit up and, keeping it in, bad, bad, bad news. That'll lead to stress, that'll lead to heart attacks, that'll lead to death, and you better have a policy if you're gonna road.
Well said right there. And then finally, it's like if you read Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read that 6, 7 years ago, and
Mhm.
I thought, oh, well, this is different. Like I don't want to be building someone else's wealth. Like I like to serve, I like to lead, I like to be in those kind of roles where I'm helping everyone be better, right? But at the same time, it's you gotta help yourself first, like the airbag. And
Yeah.
so the journey was we talk about building wealth, that's through your debts and expenses. We talk about keeping wealth, that's the things you're gonna finance anyway, and then creating more wealth. And in less than 4 years, we have done each of those things. We have paid off all of our debt, recaptured $3,300 a month back to our family. Do the math, it's close to 40 grand a year,
Mhm.
right? And then we paid for our ski vacation, which is now an annual thing. Three of the four of us love skiing. Diego might have skied into a tree and doesn't see the appeal to it, but still, like we like to go skiing, even though we enjoy living in the warm. And then finally, we've just put money out to work for us, in an investment, and we're going to be having passive income coming back, you know, fingers crossed, because investment always has risk, but
Mhm.
we feel like the investment will come back. We vetted it. We'll come back at the end of November. We'll start seeing passive income.
Nice. So that actually leads me into our next question, which is buy talk to me a little bit about buy term and invest the difference. That's I think what we're doing, that's the biggest noise on the outside is why would I do this infinite banking? Why would I do this whole life thing? Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, all these people talk about buy term and invest the difference.
Mhm.
Where I know that people within our team have statistically proven that that is a not the most effective way to do things. That infinite banking is more efficient, more effective than buy term invest the difference. But just talk to me because you talk to so many different people. Like you said, you've talked to thousands of different families, clients, whoever it may be. Talk to me a little bit about your views on buy term and invest the difference, invest the rest, whatever he likes to say.
Yes, I'm gonna take a little different approach on this because I feel like there's so many different ways to become financially free.
Hmm.
Now, I believe that there's a suboptimal way to do it and an optimal way to do it, not right and wrong. Like, I'm not going to make anyone wrong. So, term for a lot of people is necessary because if you love your family, you love someone, and you don't have very much income, then term's a great way to protect yourself, especially if you're not of the age where death is likely to happen.
Hmm.
That's why term only pays out 1 to 2% of the time. Okay. As far as investing the difference, but if you're putting it into a mutual fund or something else, again, where you're not in control and you don't understand it, then I think it's people being lazy
Hmm.
and just hoping and praying that things are going to work out. And in my world, hope is not a strategy.
Yep.
Like
Nobody
hope
cares
is
more
not
about
a
your
plan.
money than you.
Yes.
So that's, yeah, hope is.
So again, if we go back to simple why I think the way I do, I just look and say, does that make sense? Yes, maybe term makes sense because I'm protected till I have term on my body still until I replace it completely with whole life.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you know
until
what? Let's talk about that real quick. Is
yeah,
it term or is it convertible term? Because
it
in my
is
opinion,
term because Patty had to, twist my arm to even have term, like 6, 7 years ago when I was doing what I was doing in corporate America. Like she knew better. She has a cancer policy on me, which is good because there's a lot of,
I've got a
that
cancer policy.
didn't know I even had it until the other day. And so every time we're talking about different strategies, remember, infinite banking is about taking back the banking function in your life, taking back control of your money. Like I think it's the same as taking back control and being responsible for your emotions we just talked about,
Mhm.
for being a better spouse, being a better father, for not making the same patterns and mistakes we've seen or had modeled for us and being more intentional. It's the highest vibration we're going towards. Like, how can I be present and be intentional? And so if you have term, convertible terms better because then you're guaranteed that you can convert it into something that actually protects you. So just asking yourself the simple question: is this reaching my outcome? Is this best serving my family? And if you love mutual funds and you love investing, why not run it through a foundation of infinite banking and then put it into a market where you have no control? Or
Yeah.
then day trade with it like my mentor does. Like he collateralized all 8 of his policies at the end and like had him send him checks. He likes the checks. I'm like, why do you have 50, 60, $70,000 worth of checks just sitting on your counter? Oh, I'm going to deposit them and day trade with them. That's what's left in all my policies, right? He's been practicing for 15 years. So he does it knowing because he's lost $100,000 in investments where someone just walked off with his money in the healthcare business. And he's like, Sip, it sucks. Investments always have risk, but I still have $100,000 compounding guaranteed and giving me a dividend, right? Even though that's not guaranteed. And even though I have to pay the cash value back, I can use that money again and it's still protecting the things I love, my family.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that point, and it's what I love about the way that, Caleb, has addressed it and wrote the book, The And Asset, is what you're missing is you can do this and anything else you were going to originally do with your money.
Yes.
It's not the either or asset, it's the and asset. So this is just the place to warehouse that wealth and keep it safe, just like your buddy. I've heard many stories of people having their money in their policies and then losing money out in the market. And that hit, although it sucks, it's a lot easier to swallow because oh, at least that money is still working for me. Now, granted, I got to pay myself back, just like you mentioned, but I can use that money again right away. And I still have that money working for me. It's still growing and compounding continuously for the rest of my life. So, granted, losing money in investments sucks. That's the risk of an investment, just like you mentioned. But to have that safety net there is extremely important. So, we like to make it super clear that people understand and asset.
The difference is this is an investment. It has no lid on it. Okay. It has no lid on it. You don't know. You want to be, like Ricky Bobby's dad said, if you ain't first or last, you want to be in first lien of whatever the asset is, whether it's real estate, cars, whatever. Whatever the thing is, you want to be in a position that if it falls apart, then you can go get the thing and still be whole, or at least be close to whole.
Mhm.
Well, with what we're talking about, it's this. It is a container with a cap on it. Like, as long as you do the thing we teach you and always pay your premium deposits into your account, there is no risk. There is no risk. You are the risk. And so that's what, when we're talking about and asset, like Caleb teaches, right? And that, again, we're giving a shout out to Caleb Gilliam, right? The and asset that he is a great thinker and one of our peers and a great man. Like, he has a young daughter, like actually maybe your daughter and his son, or his daughter and your son will get married someday. They're about the same age.
Mm.
They- So you never know, right? You never know. It's a small
Yep, I
world,
gotta see
right?
how cute she is, but,
Uh,
she's got a great dad.
she's pretty cute, right? And no, just all joking aside, it's really about, that's an abundant mindset versus scarcity mindset. When we talk about invest term or buy term, invest the difference, you are playing defense. You are hoping that things are going to work out. You are not taking ownership. And it's like playing prevent defense in football.
They
Like,
always
it does
score on
not
prevent
go,
defense. You're not preventing anything.
you're not preventing everything because
You're
you're giving up
preventing
the whole
you from
field.
stopping them to score. That's what you're
Yeah.
pre
And so that's like the and asset is literally just abundant thinking.
Mhm.
It's like saying, is this expensive or is this expansive? I got that the
I
other
like
day
that.
from my friend Jeremy Newsom, right? Is this expensive or is this expansive? Well, we're offering you expansive. You might not be ready for it, but it is a bigger, higher vibrational energy that we're bringing in what we teach.
I like that. So, again, you're just leading me right in because just so you folks are
I
aware,
read the questions, man. I
yeah,
read
I
the
like to
questions.
I like to set up some questions. I like to send them over to my people so they know kind of what we're gonna talk about, or at least what kind of things I wanna ask them because I like to be prepared. So, that leads us right into the next question. If this is so amazing, if infinite banking is so amazing, why don't more people know about it? Why was this not taught in any form of our financial education in schools? Why aren't you seeing commercials about it? You know, where are we at? Why is infinite banking not front page?
Let's try a different answer than I usually give. So let's it's another great question. If you think about school and what we're taught in school, we're taught what to think.
Hmm.
We're taught how to memorize, how to
Yep,
regurgitate, how to be compliant, how to follow. And all of those things make for great employees.
sure do.
Any mission, we need employees. We need our who's that love what they're doing, editors, marketers,
I
other
love
people,
employees. Yeah, employees are
other people.
fantastic.
And it's with financial, like I said, there's not one right way to do everything. There's a optimal and suboptimal way to do things. And so if you look at the systems that have been around since 1913, before 1913, the US had surplus money.
Hmm.
Like, if you looked at the United States as a family, they're the most bankrupt family, continuing to run a business into the ground year after year, doing things that I don't even understand with the Keynesian theories and other economic principles. And so the reason we're not taught this is it doesn't serve it doesn't serve the evil empire. Let's make it back to make it fun. It doesn't serve them evil empire. It is not good for our country for everybody to understand what's really happening. Yes, we got let's grab Darth off the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ooh, I like that one. That's dope.
Yeah, that was the first painting I did for Diego.
Not serving you,
When
Darth. This is not serving you.
it's not served. So it's really it's people don't want to like I talked to a multimillionaire yesterday, right? And I asked him, we were talking about things like this, and he was sitting down for dinner and he was sharing with me. I was like, well, what do you he's like, I don't really understand my finances that well. I just give it to someone to manage. And I was like, sir, why would you give away the most important asset for someone else to manage if you didn't understand it? What if you could understand this and teach this to all of your kids and your grandkids and make sure that not only does what you've created over the last 40 years live on,
Yes, yeah.
why not make sure that they have the financial acumen? 'Cause it's super simple. Like my 10-year-old can explain this to people and make them understand how we've used it and how money stays in motion and just all the things. It's super simple. It's stupid simple. And people can't believe that something this simple could be effective.
Yeah,
They always think there's a catch.
which I think is also intentional. I think that whoever's putting these thoughts, this information, all of this stuff in our head is teaching you like that old adage, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Well, what if it's not? I mean, and
Could
I'm
you hold space? Could you hold space and believe that maybe this could be true? If you can hold space and you can, I was thinking about this. Maybe I would want to talk to someone that's like a trained psychologist, someone that's more of a behaviorist, right? But it's like the sunk cost principle. Like when you keep pouring money into a business, thinking that one day it's going to work out, and I'll just pour more money into it. If I keep putting my energy, my money into this, it's going to work out one day.
Mhm.
And I feel like people's egos get in the way. Like I'm a Dave Ramsey follower. Well, why would you give yourself a label? Like, why would you label yourself one thing?
I
Like,
do what works.
yeah, why not just do the thing? Why not just give yourself permission that what you've done up to this point hasn't worked? And if that is actually true, what if there's a way that it could be better for the rest of your life moving forward in a guaranteed way? Brent says this all the time, right? Brent Kessler, founder of the Money Multiplier. No one's ever mad at me because I give two guarantees. You get a guaranteed contractual rate that your money grows every single day. Every single day, it's worth more tomorrow than it is today. And when the inevitable happens, like 98% of us are going to die. I feel like there's some aliens that might not. So,
Oh,
right. I just
Elon,
like saying that but we're going to not be here forever. And then when we leave, there's a guaranteed estate left that's tax free away from the evil empire.
you said something to me when we were having our conversation in Tennessee that I wanted to bring back up that I've used multiple times since that conversation, which could have been 2 weeks ago or it could have been 2 years ago. I don't really remember. But
Me neither.
you had mentioned what your I think it was your grandpa used to tell you. Essentially, it was, "If I always tell the truth, then I think that was you. Kinda had multiple conversations, but the basis was, if I always tell the truth, then I don't have anything to remember."
Yes. Yes. And that's one of my, as far as being congruent and showing up the same, like I'm exactly the same in a strategy call and sitting down at the dinner and here having a beer at the bar, watching the game. Like I might be a little nicer here sometimes. Like I do have a tendency to be a little harsh, which I'm working on. Like my nickname in college was the Hammer because I would just tell people the truth of what I thought about them, and so um, there's nothing to hide. Like there's nothing that we're doing that we need to hide. Like the deeper I go into this, I mentioned this a couple times. The deeper I go down the rabbit hole, the more I'm convinced that God put me on this path for a reason. And if you look at the obstacle, Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way, is a great book. If you look at the thing that you're most afraid of, and then you stick your head in that dark cave, like in Star Wars,
Mhm.
when Luke goes in and he sees a reflection, and then Darth Vader, and then it's him. Right? There's another book called "You Are the Mountain."
Yep.
There's all these books that talk about our biggest obstacle, our biggest thing we're competing against is us. And that's why I love this because it's all about the real estate between your ears, like you just point out your head.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge I think for most people is the voice between the ears that's telling you it's too good to be true. This isn't for you. Possibly couldn't have success doing this. They're lying to you. Whatever it may be that you have to tell yourself that that little voice that has been just ingrained in you is telling you. You got to shut that off because it's failing you. I mean,
just ask yourself, write it down, write pros and cons of the little voice.
yeah,
Like make notes instead of taking notes. Like write that down from this thing. What are the things about infinite banking that you're afraid of? And then what are the things that you hope to achieve for the rest of your life? Like, what is it that you're trying to do? Like Shawn's mentioned, is it take back control of your debts and turn them into assets? Is it be able to actually fund all of the things that you want to do with your family, buy cars, send your kids to college, help your grandkids, whatever it is, right?
mhm,
Or is it really creating Nelson never talked about retirement? Because by the way, retirement's made up. Like, when they made their retirement age 65, do you know what the average lifespan of America was at that time?
62.
62. Nah,
Hey, man, good luck getting to retirement. You're gonna be dead. So
think
I'm
about that. So if you wonder why the system isn't working the way we thought it would, well, we're living longer. Our quality of life isn't higher because of a bunch of other stuff. But like that retirement 65, but we die at 62. We can make them, these people that are going to retire, think they're going to get this payout and then they're dead and we don't have to pay them out.
they're in it
That
for you though. Like that, you're their
they
number.
got your back. As long as you stayed in it for the long term, as long as you just keep holding on, it's all gonna work out, I promise. And then when you die, it's all gonna be okay.
Because somebody is constantly focused on making sure that they make your life as good as possible. They're taking care of your money. They're up at sleepless nights saying, "Oh man, I got to make sure that this money Jason invested with me is growing by the 12% that I told him it would grow by. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna, absolutely hate myself and lose sleep and not spend any time with my family." No, man, they don't care. I mean,
How about this? How about this? Give Shawn and I your biggest financial fear. We will hear you, and we will give you a path forward whether we can help you or not. Tell me what keeps you up at night. Tell me the thing that you're most worried about. Tell me what you want. I'd rather hear about what is that big vision, right? We're going through something, pretty tough in our family right now. And when it was and one of the things I've wanted is my family to be closer. My wife's family, super warm, is probably why a big reason why I fell in love with her immediately within a month, knew I wanted to marry her after being a serial dater, like dating for 2 years, 3 years. And I always make a joke about it, but it's really her warmth and her love and how she is with her family. She talks to her brother and sister every day. I don't. But we had something last week where, my sister is battling cancer. And my mom called me, and then she called me twice within a few minutes. And I was like, my mom doesn't call unless it's an occasion or unless she's calling me back 2 weeks after I called her. I love you, mom. If you're listening to this, I love my family very much, but we're not big communicators.
mhm.
And, now when you hold space for faith and when you hold space that I know it's not my sister's time. Like I know the cancer is way worse and it could have been if it was caught early, but I know she's going to survive. I know that by sharing this, that you guys will pray for my sister Nikki. I know that I wasn't expecting that, but in that moment that my mom called, I had the choice to crumble and say, "Oh my God, my little sister can't be sick." And I told my mom, "Mom, when you see my sister, you cannot break down. You will tell her she is going to get through this. She's going to get through this for my nephews, for her husband, for our family." And we put a group together for her where we see her. And this all ties back to money. So just bear with me. I talked to my sister. I said, "What do you want when you are healthy? We have helped heal your body, not Western medicine only, when we have, through our love, helped heal that cancer, made it go away. What are you going to do? Where do you want to go? Like, if you could go anywhere in the world, where is that?" She's like, "Oh, maybe here, maybe there." Then she locked into the Galapagos. I said, "Well, what are you gonna do in the Galapagos Islands? Do you wanna go for the turtles, the lizards? Like, why?" Like, my sister was a marine biologist or is a marine biologist, right? So, she'd rather sit outside and, like, hang out with a lizard than talk to us, right? So, love you, Nikki. But it's so literally, she said, "I wanna swim with the whale sharks."
Oh, I've swum with whale sharks. It's great. It's awesome.
Really? See, and I would have never known that unless I brought this up. This is how life is always happening for us. And so now she's tied to that vision. Now we have something we can ask about. We can see her healthy swimming with the whale sharks because things are going to keep changing like they will in your life when you do infinite banking. New things are going to pop up that are unexpected, new costs, new changes. But you have to have that foundation and that belief in yourself and in your future to know that things, and by the grace of something much bigger than us, are going to be okay. And so that's tying my sister to that vision, me stepping up as a leader in my family as the man, right? As the big brother was an opportunity that I'm not ready for. I still don't know how to necessarily cope with this, but I've been talking about it a lot and it feels good. So thank you for that space. And I
Yeah.
think it ties into what we're talking about with setting a vision, knowing it's going to change, and just believing in yourself that you can do this. You just might not know what to do yet.
Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing that. And, like you said, at the end of the day, everything that we're doing, at least everything that I'm doing, is for the people that I love and care most about, whether it's my sister and her kids, my wife and my kids, my parents, all of these people that are affected in my life by me being here, um, doing these things and making sure that I'm taking care of the things that I can take care of, that I can control, is going to affect them in an unknown way, but it's going to be a positive way whenever that time comes. So, I'll say a nice prayer for your sister Nikki, and again, I appreciate you sharing that here because that can't be easy to handle. But yeah, man, it's life, and that's the scary thing. That's I think being in life insurance. That's one thing that I focused on a lot before I got into the infinite banking space was just talking to people about situations like that, real life situations that happen to every person, affect every family across the country, across the world, children, adults, grandparents, it doesn't matter. Someone is being affected by life happening to them. And I think the things that we're doing, setting these things in place, not just taking back control of your wealth, but making sure the death benefit, that very important portion of infinite banking, is where you need it to be at to make sure if something unexpected happens, that the people you love and care about most are taken care of.
And it's guaranteed. And
Guaranteed.
thank you for the prayers and the words and like the thinking that you display. Again, that's why we're here together. Is I really appreciate your thinking, your communication, your heart, what you're looking to do for others. And that's why when you anything you ask me, I'm saying yes. Hey, you want to come up? Yes. You want to sit down? Yes. There's like I find that to be really rare these days is to find someone who like you're newer to the space than I am, and I'm not been around that long. Like it's only been 4 years since I've known about this, right? 3 years practicing. But like look at your setup for today. Like you are the consummate professional in service. And that if you are not making enough money and you're listening to me right now, how can you go do the thing you like to do in service of someone else, and they will pay you for it and be okay accepting the money. Don't be like my awesome stepdad who's like Al from Tool Time that helped me build this awesome wall behind me, right? I paid him in, I think Natty Lights or Miller Lights, right? But that's okay. That's a form of payment. Be okay accepting money because at the end of the day, we all need to be in the job as long as we're going to be in the States, the job of making money first, of spending less money than we make. And then once we have that skill nailed down, then we can talk to you about why infinite banking would be a good place to store that surplus money.
Yeah.
So that is the simplest way we could ever look at this. Make more money than you spend. The money you're not spending, you store in this to buy the other things that you will eventually need to buy and protecting the life because life is what? Guaranteed to happen. Now you said happened to us. I'm going to offer you, if you change your mind and think it's happening for me, like this is not how I wanted to be reunited with my family, to get closer to my family,
Mhm.
to build relationships back. But this is something I've wanted for the last several years. And now it's up to me to take the opportunity to check in, to communicate. My wife keeps lovingly pushing me. Tell your mom you want to talk to your sister. Don't just call your mom. Like, have your sister on the phone. Like, just little things that I'm a little afraid sometimes. Like, I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to not
Yeah.
have them pick up. Right. And that's what we're all afraid of. We're afraid of not fitting in. We're afraid of being rejected or of failing. And I got news for you. You don't fail until you're dead, and you can't be rejected by anyone other than yourself.
Well said. So
I talk too much.
no, no, no. We're right on track, man. We're right on track. I actually might, guys, so listen to this. I might chop this into 2 episodes because we got a few more questions to go through, and I'm not putting a halt to it. So
And I'm good time wise. I blocked this day out to be with my buddy, Shawn. Can't.
awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that. So let's keep giving it to them because I feel like we're providing a lot of people with some really good information, insight on banking, insight on life, insight on relationships, and just, vision for
And if you
yourself.
haven't subscribed to the Cash Flow Chronicles podcast by now, now you know that that's something you want to do. So make sure you're liking my man, Shawn, following him, going to wherever he is speaking at. Myself, I do a webinar every Thursday called Founding Fathers Financial Freedom, which is right there in the background. But we will be not only bringing people on with their journeys, I'm going to do a 9-week episodes of with another martial artist
Oh,
who could
nice.
probably kick my ass, but we're gonna make this as simple as possible, walking people through the steps of how, if they're not ready for infinite banking, then get ready, and then how they can put the practices in place to make this a practical application in your life. So everything with infinite banking, not infinite banking over there. I'm gonna be a martial artist with infinite banking. I am gonna be a leader in this space with infinite banking. I'm gonna be a father with infinite banking. It's always with infinite banking as our foundation for finances, period.
I love that. Love it. So, on that topic, let's talk to people why and what, in your eyes, makes the product of whole life the ideal product for the concept, two completely separate things here, the product and the concept of infinite banking.
Okay. Well, I love that question. So, Shawn, when you have money or any other thing, who do you want to be in control of said thing?
I personally want to be in control of all of my things.
Okay. I got that. I know that about you. You definitely want to be buttoned up
Mhm.
and have control. I too want to be responsible for what is going to work or not work in my life because I can live with that.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I can live with that. So when we talk about the product, then who do you want to be your partner? Do you want your partner to be who do you want to be your partner?
Somebody with a long history and track record of showing up, of
Wait, you're saying you want to work with the Michael Phelps, the gold medalist of managing money successfully.
yep, I want the best.
You want the best.
I want the
Me
best.
too. Me too. I want the best as well. I don't want something that is not proven over time. I do
Mm,
not want to work with someone who doesn't have my best interests at heart. Meaning, when I worked for an equity backed company, it wasn't necessarily always about the employees and even the people we hired, which is one of the reasons I left that space. It was about making the people that were putting equity, the shareholders,
all the money, yep.
more money, taking it from small cap 30 million to mid cap 600 million, and then growing it to the point where they can exit. And the people that are invested will make a lot of money. Yes, they're solving problems. Yes, they're really good at what they do. But at the end of the day, it wasn't built for the people that are employees or the people that are employed by. I want to be part of a company where their success is tied to my success.
I'm like,
If I'm successful, they're successful. If they're successful, I'm more successful. That is a relationship. I want an everyone thrives relationship. If I can't have it, I'm out. I'm 50 now, man. I ain't wasting any more time being
Yeah,
with people like,
clock's
hey, I can
ticking.
take your marketing to the next level. I'll do this. What do you know about infinite banking? I know marketing. How are you going to communicate infinite banking if you don't know what it is that we're trying to do? How are you going to tell this journey if you're not willing to read Nelson's book? Like, I won't partner with anybody who won't read that book ever again.
Yeah.
And my coach is like, oh, that's fourth on my list. I'm like, okay, I think my son's going to read it before you too. I know the person I gave it to yesterday will read it to you before that. But like, if you're going to coach me, like one of my coaches, if you're going to coach me, read the book.
I need to know where I'm coming from, what I'm shooting for, my goals and stuff.
Yes, 100%. So as far as the product goes, I want everyone thrives. When we're talking about a mutually owned dividend paying whole life company, it's the banks. You can go look them up. Every single one of the five, soon to be six companies we work with have been profitable every year they've had their doors open. So for the youngest one, it's 119 years. For the one of the ones in New York, it's 137 years, it's 148 years, it's 160, 170, and the other one is somewhere between that 160 and 170 plus that we're bringing back for certain policies, right? We're always out there looking for who, like you said, has been doing this at the highest level, has the highest ratings, is the most secure, right? Stable, and it's about you being the owner of that contract. The contract's unilateral. The contract's unilateral. Those two guarantees for us, the policy owners, right? How many policies do you and your family have at this moment?
4.
Same, four. Look at that. All right. So we have four at this moment. We will have many more eventually, but we have four. And all four, Jason Sipple, am the owner.
Same.
As long as I make my premium deposit, it will work as well or better, even better than it is designed because engineers always overbuild things. Okay. And if I do not do the thing, well, then it will not work. But as long as I do the thing, that company will keep owning and taking on all the risk for me. They'll keep giving me my guaranteed return. They'll keep giving me my dividends. They'll guarantee the death benefit, guarantee I can do what I want with the money. I never have to jump through hoops.
Mm.
They give me all the guarantees. And if I want to walk away from the contract just because I'm going to move to and unplug from the entire world, they will just hand me my cash value back, no questions asked. They might try to tell me, or, at least if you have a good agent or mentor, they might say, Shawn, why? Like I just had somebody do this, like a young kid, like I'm moving out of the country. I'm going to just, surrender my policy and take the cash out. And I was like, do you think that wherever you live, you might still need cash? you know, I don't, he's like, it's not about the death benefits. I'm like, yes, but do you still think having your money grow, like if I could invest in a business and know after 3, 4, 5 years that
Good
business is
money.
guaranteed to be profitable and more profitable every year like this, going up, bottom, up, never any downs. Would you invest in that business? Every business owner, if they didn't know the context of life insurance, would say yes.
Yep. How many can I start? How many businesses like that can I own that are guaranteed to be more
Yeah.
and more successful each and every year? That would be the answer. How many?
How many?
Many as you want.
As many as you, yeah, as many as you want, as long as you're adding more value in the world.
Yes, very true. So, and then
See how
on
simple this is, though? Do you see how
yes,
simple this is? I mean, if we really break it down, we're changing one thing. Where does the money that you have saved, because you haven't spent it all, if you can't overcome Parkinson's law, well, hey, you can't be our client yet.
yep,
Maybe you can change. I have faith you can. And if you're not doing it, like I talked to so many people making 200, 300, 400,000, 100,000. And it's like, well, how much are you saving? Zilch. Well, how much are you loving yourself? Why are you stressed out?
I don't have no
Because
money.
you're not taking care of yourself. Your subconscious knows at least.
Mhm. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, let's see what else we got. Oh, misconceptions.
Misconceptions.
Yeah, I want to talk just really quickly about misconceptions because I think oftentimes people see the YouTube videos, they see the TikTok videos, they see the Instagram videos, they see the Facebook videos, they see Dave Ramsey talking about it, they see all of this stuff. You hear it's too good to be true, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
what are, because you've talked to so many clients, potential clients as well, what are some of the common misconceptions that people are coming across when looking at this? Because it does take some time to be able to rethink your thinking. The average person is not going to open up this book and say, you know what? It all makes sense. I've been doing it all wrong. It's time to make some changes. It's not
Yeah.
going to be what the common person thinks. So, what is the common person getting tripped up on? What are the misconceptions that they're facing?
There's a lot of them. It's
Yeah.
a great question. There's a lot of them. And one, they're overcomplicating everything. The biggest thing is that this can't be that simple. But if it wasn't that simple, then riddle me this. Why are 91% of the people that I personally help coming back and doing additional policies within 12 months?
Hmm.
Sometimes to the tune of 4, 5, or 6, depending on how many family members they have,
Yep.
right? So, and then that's where we actually like, let's talk about this. They think that we, because we're out there and we're buying cool lights and we're doing podcasts and we're here to serve. And like, remember, all the calls I have, I never get paid. I have multiple coaching certifications. I paid a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $100,000 personally on myself. That's come from my fake retirement account, like the government had locked up. I could take out during COVID. A lot of that was taken out and paid to me into growing this mission. But like, folks, like the misconception is, Jason, why would you do this? Why would you help me help myself? Like, what's in it for you? There's always the what's in it for you that people.
It's a very interesting way to think. First of all, I want to point that out. You're helping me, but why? What do you get out of
And
this?
that question's always there. So that's something I bring up on every call. I'm like, go watch Chris's video, Chris Noggle,
Hmm.
how I lost, second most watched video by him, how I lost $534,000 doing IBC. Because people love to see how something like we want to go watch cars making left hand turns around a track because we want to see that thing crash, right? We don't want to see a ball of smoke and then we want to see the people okay. But our nature is we like chaos.
Yep.
We want to see chaos. We want to see things that surprise us. And so when we look at that as a misconception, people are like, well, this all makes sense, but what are you getting out of it? Like, why would you even help me learn this, support me, do all of this stuff? Like, why when you're not making any money doing it? And I was like, well, because when you get approved, I get paid from the smaller portion. Shawn gets paid from the smaller portion. All my peers get paid from the smaller portion of the design that is the whole life cost. And we get paid directly from the insurance company. I always give people my address. You're welcome to send me money whenever you want, but I'm not charging you for my mentorship, for my education, for my actual love of you as a person and wanting to guide you. And like, so that's probably the biggest misconceptions. People, what's in it for you? I can't do this if I leave this call and I go into the application process, when I sign a piece of paper saying I want to go into underwriting. Like, I'm committed to this. That yes, Shawn wants you committed. Yes, I want you committed because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste the insurance company's time. I don't want to waste anyone's time. My biggest fear in life is I'm wasting time. If I go down this rabbit hole, am I wasting time? Will this really work? Right. So that's
Yep.
another big misconception. Can I do this? I don't know. Do you believe you can? Henry Ford said it. You either think you can or you think you can't. And Shawn,
Either way, you're right.
either way, you're right. So those are two. People don't believe they can do it. People don't believe that we would help them. People don't believe that the insurance companies have their best interest, right? They believe
That's a
whole
funny
life.
one.
Well, that's what they believe. They believe why would an insurance company, if I put 10,000 a year and I'm 30 years old, give me $1 million if I kick rocks, let me have access to 60% of that money in the first year and it grows every other year. Like, why would they do that if they don't become profitable to year 7? None of it makes sense for people. And I think that's good for us. I just thought of this. I think that's good for us because the people it doesn't make sense, they would do the not right thing, the suboptimal thing, if given a chance. So that is why we became connected. That's why we have peers like the Banking Bros, Hannah Kessler, Chris Noggle, Chris Kirkpatrick, on and on and on. It's a blue ocean of people that really want to help. So misconceptions. I can't do this. Too good to be true. What's in it for them? How could I trust a life insurance company? Well, just do your research. Those are some of the big ones.
And I want to add on that.
Please.
I really like to travel. I really like, going to these other countries and all these beautiful places. And I've started to like America less and less as the years have gone by.
Mm.
And I think there's a big theme behind that. I'm sure everybody has their own reasons, but I think as a country, we're trending in the wrong direction. And I think that at the core of everything that we're doing is, I think the root of it is we as infinite bankers are trying to teach people a way to not only take back control of their money and their lives, but the country. Because if more people did this, if a large percentage of people did this, then we could change the trajectory of the way that this country is trending. And we all know we're going downhill. Like, people used to think one thing about America, and now they think something different. It's kind of a clown show what we're doing over here. But luckily,
Look at Rome.
we still have a lot of the freedoms that we could take advantage of. And one of those freedoms is the freedom of speech. And we're using that to help educate people to realize that they can take back control of a lot of aspects of their life. And if we get enough people on board to realize that they can control these things in their life, then we can flip the script and start trending back in the right direction. So I think that's a big one. People ask, why do you do it? For the good of the people.
I
Like,
didn't know we were gonna go and show the whole long-term thinking. I didn't know we were
yeah, that's
peeling back that curtain right now, so if you guys got your little, tinfoil hats, like, put them on. Like, put them on in this moment, because right at the moment, what Shawn just dropped is why I do this. It's why my mission's called Founding Fathers. People are like, "I don't get it." Why is it called Founding Fathers, Jason? Right? Like, why do you want to inspire and educate 10 million fathers and their families to avoid financial slavery? I'm using that word specific. We are slaves and we don't know it. And to live our legacy, not just to leave it, right? Don't be the person in your family who just thinks money's going to solve everything. Be there, be present, be active, participate. And then to make a positive impact on the communities. Like, how do we together, at the you and me level, change America for the better? Because it's a travesty right now. We're literally trending exactly towards Rome, exactly towards, why we're at the place we're at right now is because we're practicing and we're going along with principles that have already destroyed other civilizations. And it's between our food, it's between big pharma, it's between lobbyists, it's between, right? That's politics.
mhm.
It's between, our educational system, and it's between our religion. We're finding every way to separate people, but we have an opportunity to actually bring people together through love. Through love, just one word. I went to my first Tony Robbins event. He did a process called the Dickens process, which is awful, by the way, Shawn. If you've not done it, I highly recommend going someday and doing the event, going through that process, doing it with a lot of people live. It literally felt like Dante's Inferno. Like,
Hmm.
because you're bringing yourself to imagine you're on the street. Imagine you're broke. Imagine everyone you love left you. Imagine that you are desperate. You don't have health. You don't have, and there's people like that in the States, right? Imagine you don't have anything. Imagine everything is stripped from you. Imagine you are naked, alone, afraid, and people are wailing and crying and screaming. 15,000 people in an arena. Imagine that. And then I had a lightning bolt. It was, I am love. 3 words. And when I heard that, I said, "What the hell do I do with that? What do I do with that, God?" I have, like, 4 emotions, like, go hard, go harder, right? Be stressed, and I mean, love was one of them, but, like, I had very few awareness of my emotions. I bottled them all up, and I am love, and I believe what we're doing is based in love. That's simple.
Yeah.
Love and abundance. Be better. Be better. Leave place that we're at. in the world we're in better than we found it.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful, and I think that ties back to the quote that I had brought up that you had told me is, "When you tell the truth, there's nothing to remember." We're
Yeah. There's
not
nothing to
trying to
remember.
hide anything. We're not trying to pull a gotcha. We just wanna tell you what it is, and when you realize what it is, sometimes you realize what to do, what comes next.
And Nelson said it best where this is not taught, it is caught.
Yep.
So if what we've said has not landed yet, but you're still listening, give yourself permission that it might sink in later. You might be sleeping. You might be on a run, on a walk, playing with your kids, your grandkids, and all of a sudden that light bulb's going to go on and you're going to freak out. And everyone around you is going to think you're crazy. And then you're going to tell them what you're going to do. And they're still going to tell you you're crazy. They're going
They're
to tell you
definitely
you're
gonna tell you
wrong.
you're crazy then.
Yeah, they're going to tell you you're wrong. They're going to tell you you're crazy. But just give yourself permission. Shawn, ask me this. How long, Jason, did it give you? How many Ironmans did you have to do before you gave yourself permission to actually enjoy racing?
Jason, how many Ironmans did you have to do before you actually gave yourself the permission to enjoy racing?
Okay, so this is gonna be a crazy answer. Like I did this because a doctor told me after having back surgery at 26, Jason, you're done. I asked him, what can I do, doc? I don't have pain. What can I do? Well, Jason, you can't run. You shouldn't run. You shouldn't lift heavy because you got a back of a 60-year-old. And I thought, well, I don't have pain. You screwed up my surgery. I don't think I'm going to take your word as my, uh, you know,
It's
as
not
my
gospel.
sentence. It's not
Yeah.
going to be my sentence. And then the first race I did, I thought I'd do one. I had a faux hawk. My buddy said, "Hey, Sip, I saw you did a half Ironman. A real man will do an Ironman." I said, "F you, let's go." We
Yep.
signed up, right? We signed up. I did that. I enjoyed myself. I had cookies. I had, I did it all in a way where I smiled and had a great day the whole day. And then I met somebody who raced with a bunch of pros and team. And he's like, "That's not how you race. You race like this. You race to go fast. You race to go to Kona." And I started racing like that. My fourth Ironman. So training for 4 years, 10 months a year, three half Ironmans a year. My fourth Ironman, 2014. My coach, John Spinney, love him, and Tim Snow, Snowman. Like Tim Snow's on like 48 full Ironmans, right? Been a pro. And they would give me a mantra, Jason, your gremlins are going to pop up. And I'm sharing this because the same gremlins pop up all around you when you're doing Infinite Banking.
Mhm.
So the gremlins are going to come and tell you you can't do it. Why are you doing this? Just quit. Just go back to being comfortable. And so they'd give me a race mantra: trust the training, trust the training, trust the training. And so you just say it over and over. You look here over and over. Like it's going to suck. Like people are going to punch you in the face when you're swimming. And that's a weird feeling. Why is someone punching me? Why are they swimming more? Why are they grabbing my legs? Right. And that day I said, I just let it all go. My wife would tell me, you have to go faster. You've been training so hard. You're spending all this money with coaching. You have to go faster every time. And so I just felt pressure and pressure. And finally, on that fourth one, I said, you know what? I'm going to have fun. I gave myself permission to have fun. It was my fastest race. It was my best race, my best memories. And that is the permission I want you to give yourself. Just give yourself permission to have fun. Give yourself permission that you can do this. You just don't know it yet. And if you don't, it's okay. We still love you.
Well said. Just permission.
Permission.
Because again, you guys are in control here. It's between the ears. That's all we're focusing on, making sure you can control. Because once you control that, control everything else. So before we wrap this up, you want to tell everyone if they enjoyed our conversation. Like I said, I'm probably going to cut this into two parts, really make it nice for people to consume. But if they enjoyed getting through both of these episodes, where can they find Jason at? If they want to hear Jason talk more about founding fathers, about, if they want to join in on the Ask Me Anythings, whatever it may be, tell the people where they can find you at.
I appreciate that, brother. You can find me on jasonsipple.com. You can sign up for the weekly webinar there. I also have my YouTube channel, just Jason Sipple. Right, go subscribe to that. We put out new episodes, a couple every week. Um, we'll have a pretty soon, not yet, but there will be a podcast I'll be doing. We'll have Shawn on that podcast as well. So just go to jasonsipple.com. sign up there, go to my YouTube, um, email me, jason@jasonsimple.com. You can reach me any of those ways right away.
Awesome, man. Well, everyone, that is a wrap for today's episode. We appreciate you tuning in and hopefully learning and growing with us today. Hopefully, our discussions shed some light on the concept of infinite banking, on just really life in general. Hopefully, it brought a little bit more clarity to you about what some next steps might be for you. If you'd like to check out the full overview, like I mentioned before, I'll link that video at the end if you're watching on YouTube. And if not, go ahead and head down to the show notes. If you're ready to, if you already watched the video and maybe you're just listening to the podcast because you like to hear me talk and chat with, you know, other fellow infinite bankers, but you're ready to actually take the next steps and book yourself a free cash consultation to figure out how this can fit into your life, then by all means, again, in the show notes, head on over to my calendar link, book yourself a time, and let's just have a chat. As always, the information is free, but the knowledge is priceless. Catch y'all next time. Peace.